Well, welcome to day 0 of my epic van life road trip. One of my subscribers suggested to me that I make more shorts. So you know what? I'm going to make one every friggin' day. And since this is day 0 and day 0 doesn't really exist, here's some backstory. First of all, I could have left a day sooner, but I had to do some major surgery on my van. And then I had to make a side quest because I found a good deal on some Christmas lights, which was totally worth it. And now day of, I met my sister for breakfast, shout out to Denny's, and shout out to these donuts for the road. Then I went to Freshco for some last minute supplies, and now I'm back in my living room trying to get my life together. Do I sound stressed? Because I feel stressed. Anyways, I'll see you tomorrow. Well, welcome to day number 1 of posting a short for every day that I'm on my van life road trip because this guy told me to. Well, kind of. As you can see, I am next to my van, and I am down on the riverside camping, but do not let these views fool you. Today was not a good day. First of all, right as I walked out of the house today, I found out that Hulk Hogan had passed away. And as a big time Hulkamaniac, that shit got me down, brother. Anyways, then there's back to the realities of road tripping life, gas, and the fact that my check engine light just came on. But you know what? I just kept driving. And now I'm here at the riverside, camping next to my van. And the van drove great. And hopefully tomorrow, that light will be gone. There'll be nothing but open roads in front of me, and all my problems will fade away in the rearview mirror. Or else I'm kind of fucked. Well, welcome to day 2 of posting a short for every day of my epic road trip. And what a roller coaster of emotions I've been on. So the day started with some breakfast burritos on the riverside, which were delicious. Then I hit the road, where the check engine light that came on yesterday shut off. Thank you, sweet baby Jesus. Then I was back on the road again, where my first stop was Headley, BC, for some disc golf. This was a target course in a nice setting, and it really hit the mark. Then I was back on the road again to Pine Park in Carameus for another round of disc golf. Also in a nice setting, but featured baskets and butterflies. And then at this point, I was exhausted, so I went to my parents' house for dinner and then winded down at Music in the Park. Well, it's day number 3 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my epic van life road trip. And today, it's gotten a little bit weird. As you can see, I'm in the shower. I spent last night parked in front of my parents' house, and now I'm using the shower to clean up. And I just want to show some appreciation for showers. On a road trip like this, you never know when your next one's coming, so make the best of it when you got them. Now on with the day. First of all, let's appreciate my dad's new boat hoist. What a piece of engineering.
One thing I need is another pulley in the middle there.
Then pretty soon it was time to say goodbye to a Soyuz, and hello to Penticton, and then Summerland, and then Peachland, where I went to this campsite to meet with my friends, but there's nobody here. Oh well. Welcome to day 4 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my epic van life road trip. So last night, I camped here inside my van with my friends that were on a disc golf road trip. So you guessed it, we played some disc golf. Damn, straight into the pit of despair. I guess it could be worse though. We spent a long time looking for discs, but a good time was had by all. Now I want to introduce you to my friend Sarah. We've recently reconnected over disc golf, but fun fact, back in 2011, me and Sarah actually watched every game of the Canucks 2011 Stanley Cup Finals run together. The Canucks eventually lost that series in heartbreaking fashion in Game 7 to the Boston Bruins. Sarah cried, and Vancouver erupted in a riot. Buck Foston. Well, welcome to day 5 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my epic van life road trip. And as you can see, I'm on the lakeshore cooking breakfast, and I'm also next to a dog park. Anyways, I've enjoyed my time out here, visiting my friends, visiting my family, but that's not why I came out here. I came out here to do cool shit. So I consulted with the schedule that I made up for this video, and I realized that I needed to be back on the road. And it was hot, so make sure to stay cool. I drove about 4 hours today, but now we're finally getting somewhere. Specifically, this gravel parking lot where I think I'm going to spend tonight. It's got everything you could ever want. Great views, fantastic artwork, and even this cute dog to pet, whose name is Isla, and no, she's not lost, as per her collar. But if she was lost, I would have a new dog. Welcome to day 6 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my van life vacation. And as you well know, I spent last night next to this giant canyon. Right next to that sign, actually. This morning, I decided to explore it further by walking this trail that followed the edge. It provided great views, albeit pretty similar to the ones that you could see from the parking lot. I ended up continuing down a trail, one that I think was a horse trail, but all I saw was a deer. That's a lie. I also saw this butterfly. After walking for a while, this big fallen tree was blocking the trail, so I took a selfie and went to the Sugar Shack. I got a Montreal smoked meat sandwich and a poutine, then I hit the road again. I actually hit my first gravel road of the trip. I'm finally getting somewhere. And then with another walk through the woods, we soon see our goal for the day, Mahood Falls. I'm the king of the world. Well, it's officially day 7 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life road trip. Can you believe it? It's already been a week. That's nothing though. I got 60, maybe 70 more of these to go. Yikes. I've been camped here at Mahood Lake, and it's a nice little spot. It's got a nice beach for swimming, and it's so tidy you can still see the rake marks in the dirt. Last night I grabbed a Go Camping BC Provincial Park visitor guide from the information booth. I was going to do some planning, but I ended up just playing this logo finding game, which was fun because I thought I was going to win some whale watching or rafting. But I couldn't find this logo anywhere. Now let's go canoeing. And what a beautiful place to go canoeing. Do I look red? I feel like I look red. Welcome to day 8 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life road trip. And today, we're in 100 Mile House. And that begs the question, 100 miles to what? 100 miles to anywhere good. In all seriousness though, we're 100 miles from Lillooet on the old wagon trail. But this wagon ain't traveling very far today. First of all, there's a heat warning in effect. And second of all, I got a pretty good sunburn yesterday. So I kept it local and went to A&W for sausage and egger and then it was off to the park for a nice creekside walk and some stretches. Look at that burn. Then I did some more loitering and eventually found a better place to park for the night. Charged my batteries with solar and aired out my smelly feet. Well, welcome to day 9 of me posting a short for every day of my epic van life road trip. So today started in 100 Mile House, where I spent last night in this sweet spot by the road. It had a really nice view. It had deer, but every vehicle I drove by was very loud. Once on the go, I drove down to the local information center for some information. And I know this trip might feel glamorous to you, but I promise you, there's nothing glamorous about brushing your teeth in a public bathroom. Roar! This information center did house the largest pair of cross-country skis in the world, the 100 Mile House marker, and a wagon from the old Caribou Wagon Road. Anyways, I eventually went for a hike at Bridge Lake, which was absolutely awesome. Man, I want a jet ski so bad. Well, welcome to day 10 of me posting a short for every day on my big van life road trip. And today, I'm standing above the Blue River in Blue River, British Columbia. I'm actually on a suspension bridge, and all this does look great, except for the fact that I'm getting absolutely eaten alive by mosquitoes, and it's raining. But with that being said, let's hit the road. Pretty quickly after getting on the road, I was stopped by a non-moving train, which is about the most Blue River thing you can experience. If you spend some time here, you will get stopped by a non-moving train. Now that it's back moving, eventually the coast clears, and then we're back on the road to Valemount. Once we get to Valemount, I stop for a chai latte and to refill my water jugs. Then pretty quickly, I'm down by the lakeshore, fully set up, so I can sip on my chai latte, grill up some Asiago and red pepper sausage as I hide out from the rain. The views really do open up here once the cloud leaves. Welcome to day number 11 of me making a short for every day I'm on my big van life vacation. Over these first 10 days, I've done a lot of things, and these shorts have been an absolute hit. But for day 11, I'm going to slow things down, and we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm currently waiting out thunderstorms here, so I got my whole van set up out, expecting rain. And I think this is the best time to go over my full van lifing setup. Let's start with my 1998 GMC Safari van. This thing is 4x4 swapped. It's been lifted about 3 to 4 inches. Custom homemade grill with off-road lights. Freedom lights up top. And that is my 15-foot Clipper Solitude canoe. Then we'll come over here and I'll show you my portable toilet. This is my chair I just bought from Temu. It is a Moon Lens. And that bad boy is rated for 400 pounds. And as a big boy, it's nice to feel supported. I also got the coffee table up. This is a Shine Trip from Amazon. I got my tablet out. I'm doing some editing, some scheduling, keeping my hands clean. Absolute van life necessity. Same thing with batteries. And speaking of batteries, we're getting our batteries charged over here. We got that solar panel. That one exclusively charges my portable batteries by USB. And then these other ones are attached by cable to my van. I also have some shoes drying and some clothes hanging on the bike rack. Then we might as well go back inside here. And you can see where I've been living. We got pop-out windows with bug nets. We got our fridge, our food bin, and that's our camp stove. And we might as well go on the full cribs fridge tour. We got eggs, Gatorade, that is pasta salad. Then I got a storage bin here, which I do not keep food in. I got a camera bag, toiletries, custom pillowcases, and pee bottles. And then we got an accessory basket and a friendly reminder that we're Canadian. And then if we go down here, this is just a bucket. I have miscellaneous stuff. Stuff that's easy to grab that I want in the moment or that I'm just not ready to put away yet goes in that basket. And just above it, I have power. Currently charging some headphones. And then if we lift this bed up, you go under there, we got storage bins. We got a wheel, a bike helmet. I think that's a bailing bucket in the back. That spot in the back is where this bad boy gets stored. This is a $69 Ozark Trail shelter. And to me, absolutely essential as far as van lifing. This is stuff I like to have handy. I got a bowl. I think there's a spoon in here. A spoon. Dude wipes. And then we go in the front. We got a bag of clothes. Tilly hat. Crocs. Disc golf towel. Anyways, that's it for the van tour. If you want to see more of it, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just waiting for some thunderstorms to hit. If I even survive that long. Well, welcome to day 12 of me posting a short for every day of my van life vacation. And unfortunately, this is going to be my last short. For a while. I'm starting the Skyline Trail in Jasper National Park tomorrow. And I'm going to be out of range for a few days. But I will be back with an absolute banger of a short. As far as today goes, I left Valemount and headed towards Jasper. The drive is nice, and there's lots of scenery. And by golly, I'm in Alberta. Unfortunately, the van was making the unmistakable sounds of an exhaust leak. But at least as I pulled in towards camp, I saw an elk chilling in the shade by the shower. And I was able to have my first shower in 9 days. But my exhaust is totally cooked. But there's nothing I can do for a couple weeks until I drive to a real town. But at least until then, I can just watch some elk. Well, it's day 16 of me posting a short for every day of my big van life vacation, and I've been gone for a while. You see, I've been hiking the Skyline Trail, and it absolutely killed me. In fact, I'm coming at you now from the afterlife. No, it wasn't this marmot that got me, although it was close. Nor was it the hike on day 1, which was beautiful. It wasn't the 3 wide toilets, which shout out to the real G's on here. And it wasn't Big Shovel Pass, which was big, hard, but beautiful. It was the notch that got me. Armed with a bad weather report, it was here where I realized that I don't have that David Goggins in me. I pushed a little bit further, then gave up. The Notch 1, Sarge 0. I switched campsites with my trail friends from Michigan, then descended to Curator Camp to wait out the rain and to take a rest day. The next day I headed out on a wet and muddy trail for over 22 kilometers, but I was able to get through knowing that I was going to get some post-trail tacos. And with 0.67 kilometers left to go, I came across a group of ladies hiking, and one pretty girl recognized me from Instagram. I am so back, baby! Well, welcome to day 17 of me posting a short for every day of my big van life vacation. And today, big time recovery day. First I took a walk around Jasper to loosen the legs. I hit the grocery store for a resupply, spun some Wi-Fi, then learned about potential plans for Sunday. Then I did some touristy stuff. I checked out the Jasper sign, the train, then drove down to Annette Lake to see more, which is nice. I had dinner in the park, then walked around the lake shore. Watch out! This walk is really interesting because it was heavily damaged in last year's wildfire. There's burned trees as far as the eye can see, and there's a really spooky vibe here. But all the grass starting to regrow is kind of inspiring. Same with the little bits of moss that are coming in. It's absolutely wild to get so up close and personal to a landscape just starting its rebirth. What a place. Oh, my calves are so tight.
Well, it's day 18 of me posting a short for every day of my van life vacation. And why am I whispering? Because I might have broke the law last night. Let's check it out. I just camped on the street. What a gangsta. Let's get on with the day.
So you know how a van life day starts. Public bathrooms and aimlessly walking around. After consulting that sign, I learned that this trail led past a little lake and through even more of Jasper's fire-damaged forests. It eventually led me down to the beautiful Athabasca River, where I massaged my sore calves and wondered how I was going to go backpacking again in 2 days. For a bit of a perspective changer, I walked through the west side of town. This is where most of the 350 homes burned down last year. It's pretty much an endless stream of construction sites almost ready to go. As someone who walked these streets last year, it's actually pretty amazing how far this place has come in a year. Soon this temporary housing will be back to being permanent housing. You just gotta stay strong, Jasper. Do you think that's about my calves? As for me, I'm taking my exhaust leaking van to Pyramid Lake for a parking lot meal and some planning. Then I get fueled up, and now I'm headed back to BC and Mount Robson. Well, it's day 19 of me posting a short for every day of my big van life vacation. And I got good news for you today. Today is the last day that I'm going to complain about my sore calves. You see, I soaked them in an ice cold lake last night, and now I'm going out of range to hike the Berg Lake Trail. That's why I'm here in the shadow of Mount Robson. As mentioned, I spent last night at Yellowhead Lake icing my calves and having a nice little campfire. I said goodbye to that campsite this morning and hello to Mount Robson, all 3,954 meters of it, the tallest mountain in the Canadian Rockies. It's home to this visitor center, which probably has the best view from a Wi-Fi hotspot. Ridiculous. Mount Robson is also known as the headwaters of the Fraser River. So I walked riverside to Overlander Falls, the first waterfall of the Fraser River. How good is that? And let's just hope my hike doesn't end in one of those. Well, welcome to day 22, I think, of me posting a short for every day of my big van life road trip. And as you can see behind me, I'm at the beautiful Kinney Lake in Mount Robson Provincial Park. I just hiked the entire Berg Lake Trail, but it's not over until you swim. So let's go. So let's go with a bit of a recap here. First you hike alongside the river, then pretty quickly you're at Kinney Lake, which is a great place for selfies. Then you hike even further, eventually passing these sweet boulder fields. Then through this neat rock slide area. Then some more trail. Then we're pretty much at camp. I stayed at the Whitehorn Camp night 1, which was a great place to take feet pics at the river. Day 2 will be remembered for waterfalls and steep hills. but I mostly just took pictures of the waterfalls. Here's White Falls, Falls of the Pool, and Emperor Falls. Here's a better view. From here I hiked in the rain to Berg Lake, which is quite nice. I especially like the glaciers. Speaking of glaciers, here's my view from camp. Also shout out to my $140 nature hike tent for keeping me dry, because this was my real view. I decided in this moment that I was hiking straight out tomorrow. So I slapped on Gregory for the last time, said goodbye to that beautiful view, and hit the trail. Past Berg Lake, through the rock garden, the rock gardens. I hiked over 23 kilometers home today, and that's why I needed that swim. Well, it's day 23 of me posting a short for every day of my big van life vacation, and today, not a lot happened. First of all, I slept in a parking lot. It rained all night. I am so glad I hiked all the way off the trail yesterday. I did use my downtime to do some editing. Then I cooked some breakfast, which was just a backpacker's meal in a bag, which kind of made me sad, so I went to the best Wi-Fi spot around, where I uploaded a video very slowly. Then I hit the road and went to a campsite to try and get my life back together. Then it started to rain. So what a great opportunity for me to plug my YouTube channel and the 2,000 subscriber giveaway that I'm doing there. I'm giving away this fire maple camping lantern, which looks like this, and all you have to do is go to that video and comment on it. You don't need to comment here. You need to go to that YouTube video and comment on it. My YouTube channel is Sarge Inc. Figure it out, and I'll see you tomorrow. Well, welcome to day 24 of me posting a short for every day of my big van life vacation. 24 days. That's crazy. That's 4 full weeks. On one hand, it doesn't feel like that, but on the other, it absolutely does. Anyways, more about today. First of all, the sun came out, which sounds awesome, and it is, except for the fact that it leaves me to have to dry out all my gear. So I'm stuck in this campsite until checkout, which is, I don't have a watch. It's not that long. I wanted to drive to Jasper first thing this morning, but because the sun was out, I had to do this. But I'm desperately needing to go to Jasper. They got a grocery store, and more importantly, they got showers. I've averaged about 1 shower a week for these 4 weeks, and I'll spare you the details, but it ain't good. I haven't showered since I got off the Berg Lake Trail. Yikes. Anyways, there's a little trail here around camp, which takes me around the lake shore, so I'm going to go hike that, pack this gear up, and then we're going to go to Jasper, get our food, and our shower. Let's go. This is the Labrador Tea Trail. I don't know why they call it that, but the views of the Seven Sisters of Yellowhead Lake are fantastic. Ooh, a train. Anyways, I packed up the rest of my gear and hit the road. Back to Alberta and back to Jasper, where I walked to the grocery store while listening to the Taylor Swift on New Heights podcast. Then went down to the river to watch some tourists float by, and for some wildlife watching. Then I finally got my much needed shower. And now we're in a windstorm. What a crazy day. So I'm currently camping at the worst campsite in Jasper National Park. Not this campground, this specific site. I am in campsite 16AA of the Wapiti first come first serve overflow lot. It was described to me as a parking lot, and it literally is a parking lot. My spot isn't even flat, but at the same time, this campsite is absolutely awesome. First of all, it's got power on site, which I didn't use, and it's also close to the playground, which I didn't go anywhere near because I'm traveling alone and I'm an adult man. But what this campsite does have, for $13, you get a fire permit and you're allowed unlimited firewood. Obviously, don't be an a-hole, but you can use as much firewood as you want. And specifically here, I do not have a fire pit. I use this area next to my van to set up shop, make sandwiches, live the life, and it was great. But to use that firewood, we need a fire pit. Some of these sites had tables and fire pits. I was not so lucky. But what I did have access to is some communal sites down by the river. And I know what you're thinking. Communal. Ew. People. It's not like that. If you look out across from me, that is a communal site. That is a communal site. Those are just open to use. But it gets even better than that. I left that firewood there, but as we walk down here, we follow the path down to the Athabasca River. First of all, you can see all the forest fire damage from last year's fire and a trail that leads you all the way to town. And as we walk closer, we have some more communal fire pits. This one is the one I used last night. There's that one there, and there's a few more as you go up the road, although those ones don't seem to have picnic tables. So I was the only one down here last night, and as you can see, the people on top of the hill are totally out of the way. So essentially you have your own private spot right next to the river. How good is that? And it gets better. But if we walk over here, we can get right down to the river. It's a little steep, and if you're old, I do not recommend. This spot, probably not great for old people, because you do have to carry firewood down that hill. But just look at that view. That's absolutely not a bad spot for being the worst campsite in Jasper. Now I'm going to go canoe Maligne Lake, so you're not going to hear from me a couple days. So these daily shorts are taking a quick break. Welcome to day 26 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life vacation. And I got a couple funny stories for you. First of all, my original video that I shot at Maligne Lake sounded like this. Second of all, I totally blew my reservation at Maligne Lake. My original plan was to canoe the entire length of Maligne Lake and camp at the far end Coronet Creek campsite and then canoe back the next day. A 2-day excursion. It would have been awesome. I've had this reservation for months, but in hindsight, I totally screwed up the reservation. I actually booked a campsite at the Hidden Cove campsite, only 4 kilometers from the boat launch. But I can't stay mad at such a pretty face, so the only thing to do was make the best of it. And that was with a huge day trip all the way to Spirit Island and back. Spirit Island is 14 kilometers away, but what a ridiculously scenic 14 kilometers it was. Spirit Island is one of the most photographed spots in all of Canada and very popular with tourists. The paddle down feature endless mountain views. In fact, all you see is these tourist boats and crazy mountain views. Then all of a sudden I see an island. That's just an island. Spirit Island is actually a peninsula. Could you imagine paying $149 to go see Spirit Peninsula when you could just paddle there for 7.5 hours for free? Crazy. I bet they didn't even see this moose. Well, it's day 27 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life vacation, and today is my final day in Jasper National Park. As I drive away from here, I'd probably be caught up with emotions because this day clearly marks the end of a chapter of this road trip. But the scenery keeps me distracted from my feelings. I'm headed off to go camping at the Miette campsite, which greeted me with this pile of firewood and this little guy on my shoulder. I happen to notice that the campsite map shows a trail to a waterfall, so obviously I hiked to said waterfall. It looks like this, or this, from the bridge above. I also noticed a sign saying Old Mine Site, so I went looking for it. On the way I found this view, then a mine cart with an even better view. I kept going into the woods, but then I realized I had no idea where I was going, and I thought better of it. It don't look good. Once back at camp, I packed up and drove to Miette Hot Springs. Traffic was terrible, and I saw this squirrel cross the road. This road did feel long, but eventually I was there, soaking my beautiful feet. Miette has 2 hot-ish pools and a cold pool, if you're an aspiring podcast bro. What a way to spend my final night in Jasper National Park. And I cannot wait to see what else this trip has in store for me. Well, I woke up this morning and there was a weird sound in the van. I didn't know what it was, but I was really groggy, so I got up, and sure enough, I had a half-alive mouse caught in one of my traps. So I had at least one mouse in my van last night, and that leads me to where my number one tip about van life is, and that's always carry mouse traps. If you've been around this channel for a while, you have known that I've had some mouse problems, and I have had upwards of a dozen mice in this van throughout my 3 years of van lifing, and every time it just feels awful. It's an invasion of your life. It's dirty. It's disgusting. It's just creepy. Tiny little mouse brings a grown man down to his knees. So always carry mouse traps. So if you look in the van here, this is what I got going. I got a mouse trap there in the back, and then if we go up front here, I got two over there. I feel like this is where they come in, but I got two over there, and I feel like there's a fourth one hidden there, but I can't see it right now. But it doesn't really matter. I'll come over to the table and I'll show you what I got here. This is one of my mouse traps. This one's clean, but it just came off of Amazon, and it definitely works. And then if you come over here, another Van Life Essential, peanut butter. You can use the peanut butter to just survive, but more importantly, I use it to bait my mouse traps. It has worked. I have caught quite a lot of mice, and peanut butter, along with my mouse traps, absolute Van Life essential. One other tip that I didn't do because I didn't know there was mice here is to pop open the hood. If you have the hood open like that, or maybe even further open, it eliminates the coziness of the under hood area, so it doesn't invite mice in, and then mice don't invite themselves into your van. Also, anything remotely edible needs to be in a mouse-proof container or in the fridge. But anyways, that's been day 28 of me making a short for every day I'm on my big van life vacation. Things ain't good. Well, it's day 29 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life vacation, and today it's back to reality. That reality being my muffler looks and sounds like this. It blew out around Valemont, and since I've been in Jasper and Mount Robson for so long, I haven't had a chance to get it fixed. So I moved on to Hinton, where I checked out 3 different shops to no luck. So I just played some disc golf and then headed towards Edmonton, where I played more disc golf and then stopped at a muffler shop. He said he works on a first come first serve, next in line type of thing, so I'm coming back first thing in the morning. To kill some time, I went for a walk in the park. It was crazy windy, but overall, it was a nice walk. Well, until the trail was too wet to continue. Now I understand the need for a boardwalk. Then it was time for a dollar store dinner in the van, and look where I'm sleeping tonight. And now I'm praying to the muffler gods that I get in tomorrow. Wish me luck. Well, it is day 30 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big, epic summer van life road trip. And everybody wants to know, did I get my muffler fixed? First of all, remember how it looked and how it sounded. So yes, I was able to get into Village Muffler. I left the van with them and then went for a walk to McDonald's to use the bathroom, grab breakfast, read a book. And what? They have Shania Twain fries? At this point, I got a quote, and I had to wait on parts, so I continued walking. I did some work in the park, but mostly just played disc golf and watched some squirrels. Then finally, we were reunited, and it feels so good. The new muffler looks and sounds great. So I drove straight to Edmonton to celebrate. I met some fans, and then I slept in the parking lot at the zoo. They are hosting an event called Zoo Brew, and in an effort to curb drinking and driving, they were allowing people to leave their cars in the parking lot overnight. Perfect. Well, it's day 31 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big summer van life vacation, and today I totally crashed out. To be fair, a whole month is a long time to be on the road, and I've been going pretty hard, so today I just crashed. I did have a lot of editing to do today, but instead I did absolutely nothing. I started the day at Sir Wilfrid Laurier Park, Sir Wilfrid Laurier being this guy. Anyways, they had a nice bathroom building with toilets and sinks to brush my teeth in. I was also able to refill my water jug here. After that, I just watched the river flow by. Eventually, I moved on to this random spot on the side of the road to spend the night. It was next to a Home 2 Suites by Hilton, and I found this spot on iOverlander. iOverlander being a website where people often list spots to stealth camp, along with other useful things for people on the road, like Wi-Fi hubs, water fill-ups, and showers, which I desperately need right now. I like to use iOverlander every now and again to find places where I want to camp or places where I shouldn't camp. I could have saved myself a warning ticket last year in Revelstoke had I looked on iOverlander, so it's definitely worth checking whenever you're in a new town. With that being said, that's been a day in the life of me doing absolutely nothing. But after 31 days, that was a day well earned. Well, welcome to day 32 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big summer van life vacation. And today, we're making a roadside dinner from Walmart. As you can see, behind me is my van. Right next to me is my kitchen. I'm in the median, and I'm just down the street from a hotel. And I spend the night on this street, technically on the other side of the road, but this side has more yard, so I'm here to make my dinner. I'm going to make a Montreal steak spice sausage and brie sandwich. All this stuff came from Walmart, and it's going to be awesome. So first I fire up the grill, and then I grab my Montreal steak spice sausages and put them on top. I also bought this Furlani garlic bread to use as a bun, so I cut it in half, wrap it up in foil, and then eventually add it to the grill. And as we let that cook, we cut up some brie. I bought this brie for less than half price, so I'm cutting up a lot. We then load up our garlic bread bun full of brie cheese, cook our sausages for a little bit longer, then eventually make room on the grill to fit our garlic bread and brie. We try to get that a little bit melted, and then eventually we add our over sauteed onions. Then it's time to feast. Okay, here we go. Sandwich in all its glory. I think it's going to be a little bit sloppy. Cheese is very melty. I lost a dog. That's pretty good. Well, that's very good. I will say, hard to eat. Good thought, mediocre execution. But anyways, that's me cooking roadside on the median. So welcome to day 33 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big summer van life vacation, and I really need to get out of Edmonton. I've been stagnating for quite a few days after getting my muffler fixed, so it's time to hit the road. First, I slept in the same spot as I did the day before, which on weekdays turns into a construction site. Then it was off to Walmart to use their bathroom and do a big resupply. Then I gassed up and hit the road. As mentioned, I had really started to stagnate here, so it felt really good to hit the road and be out of Edmonton. I made a quick detour into Elk Island National Park, where I saw this bison, and this bison, who decided to strut its stuff right in front of my van. Not bad considering I just came here to sneak into the shower. I also checked out Asstoten Lake, which is beautiful unless you look too closely. It's full of blue-green algae, so just admire it from the shore. Then I got back on the road and I was driving straight, and it was really starting to feel a long way from home. Eventually, I pulled into Lac La Biche, where I walked this boardwalk and saw Lac La Biche itself. I'm out here to canoe the Lakeland Canoe Circuit, so I'll be out of cell service for quite a few days. So with that being said, I'll see you when I get back. Well, welcome back to me posting a short for every day. I'm on my big van life vacation, and today this is going to cover for day 34, 35, and 36. I'm currently out canoeing the Lakeland Canoe Circuit outside of Lac La Biche, Alberta, and I'm actually on my own private island on Blackett Lake. I'm also totally naked right now. Anyways, I found it very difficult to take some vlog footage while I'm out here, so you're going to have to wait for the whole YouTube video to come out to see it. With that being said, as you can see, this water looks very clear behind me, but I promise you, it has not been like that this whole time. In fact, it's been pretty gross. Actually, it's been really gross at times. But I have seen some beavers and some pelicans, and I've used some weird toilets. But the canoeing itself has been pretty good. The sun's been out the whole time, and seeing zero mountains on the horizon is a trip. Anyways, that's all you're going to see from this trip, unless, just kidding. I'll see you on the next one. So welcome to day 37 of me posting a short for every day. I'm on my big van life vacation, and today I'm just hanging out in the campsite trying to get my stuff back together. But we are celebrating my 2,000 subscriber milestone with a giveaway. So 2 weeks ago, I made a YouTube video saying if you comment on this video, you are entered to win a fire maple lantern. Well, now it's been 2 weeks, and I had a draw. First, I had 95 people that entered, so I wrote everybody's name on a piece of paper, cut them all up, and put them into a hat. I discarded one name, D-Bucks Production, because he's my best friend, and even though he did mow my lawn today, I didn't feel like it was right if he were to win. So all the other names went in the hat, and I pulled one, and Freeze came out. I know who Freeze is, because on Instagram, every time I post a picture of water, he tells me to fish it. I have not fished anything, but lucky for him, he's the winner. So that's day 37 of me posting a short. Congratulations to Freeze, and better luck next time to everybody else. I'll see you tomorrow. Well, welcome to day 38 of me posting a short for every day. I'm on my big summer van life vacation, and today it's all about my time spent at Touchwood Lake. I really enjoyed my time spent there. I spent 2 nights there, and I really liked it. I like the name Touchwood Lake. It makes me think of one of those corny adult movies focused around a camp counselor at Camp Touchwood. Maybe that's just me. Either way, after the gross algae-filled water of the Lakeland Canoe Circuit, I drove up the road a bit further to find the way cleaner Touchwood Lake. Way cleaner. Just look at this place. It was begging me to canoe it. So I did. I paddled across the whole thing. It was a little windy, and I saw the most clouds I've seen in 5 days, so it was time to go. I headed down the road back to Lac La Biche to the famous Burger Baron, where I got a James burger, no tomato. Then went to the lakeshore to crush that Weller & Burger. And now I'm at a new lakeshore on the same lake, and I kind of think we might get a thunderstorm tonight. I'm not really sure, but you'll have to find out tomorrow on day 39. Well, welcome to day 39 and me posting a short for every day. I'm on my big van life vacation, and today I'm still in Lac La Biche, and if you can see behind me, the weather has changed substantially. First of all, there's a huge amount of smoke on the horizon, and it is very windy, and last night we had thunderstorms. I rode out those thunderstorms on the side of the road, camped out in front of this apartment building. I then hit the road to go to this park, use the bathroom, then walk around, check out this pond, and eventually played some disc golf. I didn't really like the course. There was just too much bush. So I pretty much just quit and got in some close range practice instead. After that, I headed to Sir Winston Churchill Provincial Park, which is basically an island on Lac La Biche. So the drive there is very interesting. I ended up at the Pelican Viewpoint, where you guessed it, I saw some pelicans. I'm so glad I packed my binoculars. Lac La Biche is actually a migratory bird sanctuary, and is a very important spot for birds. So if you're interested in birds, you should come to Lac La Biche. After that, I hiked the Boardwalk Trail, which actually featured very little boardwalk. I hiked all the way to Long Point, where I saw this beaver dam and even more pelicans. Then when I got to the end, it was just another view of the seemingly endless Lac La Biche. Well, welcome to day 40 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life vacation, and today it's my final day here in Lac La Biche. If you look behind me, this is a monument to David Thompson. David Thompson is one of, if not the most famous explorers in Canadian history. He was the first European known to be in Lac La Biche, and Lac La Biche was once a critical hub in the fur trading business. But with the spirited David Thompson within, we're going to do what he would do, and let's get a move on and see what else we could find. So I head back to the van, and then we hit the road. And today we're headed to Cold Lake, Alberta. I feel like I absolutely maximized my stay in Lac La Biche, but it feels good to be back on the road. Even though that drive was very flat and very Albertan. But once I got to Cold Lake, it was awesome. I had a nice meal at the lakeside, and then I headed up to Cold Lake Provincial Park for a shower, which I will say, not that good. But beggars can't be choosers out here. So in all seriousness, 40 days is a long time to be out here, and feels like a huge milestone. But to end day 40, I'm going to do it in a way that David Thompson could only dream about. And that is sleeping in a Walmart parking lot. Well, welcome to day 41 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life vacation. And since I spent last night in a Walmart parking lot, this morning I did some shopping, and I only thought it was fitting to show you how we're eating out here. And today, I'm making spicy breakfast sandwiches. I start by heating up the pan and getting the toaster set up. Then I slice up my English muffins and get them toasting. Then I get out some hot Genoa salami and I get it in the pan. I bought this salami because not only can I use it like this, I can snack on it later with cheese. After heating that up, I move it to a plate where I can make these meat stacks. Side note, I did lose one of these salamis in the wind. I then add some cheese on my stacks, jalapeno, habanero, Monterey Jack cheese to be exact. Then I get that into the pan to melt. I rotate my muffins, then get some eggs cooking. I remove my meat stacks once the cheese melted, and at this point, my eggs turned into an abomination. Mostly because my propane tank was mostly empty and froze up. So I made the decision to turn them into a last-minute scramble. That's what we do here. Adapt and overcome. Then it's time to serve up those eggs, and our spicy breakfast sandwiches are ready to go. And they're absolutely delicious. And that's a lakeside breakfast in Cold Lake, Alberta. Well, welcome to day 42 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life vacation. And today, I'm absolutely mailing this one in. I didn't do a lot that was exciting. I edited a YouTube video and did a fantasy football draft. Frankly, I've been here in Cold Lake for 2 days, 3 days, and I've done 2 fantasy football drafts and not a lot else. I've been sleeping in parking lots, but that's it. That's the end of this episode. Mailing it in, day 42. Hopefully, day 43 is a little more exciting, so I'll see you then. Peace. Welcome to day 43 on my big summer van life vacation, and welcome to my last day in Cold Lake, Alberta. What I wanted to do today was I wanted to canoe all the way to Saskatchewan, which you can see way out there. But obviously, that ain't gonna happen today. And when the weather's bad, you gotta hit the road. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Let's go. Today is gonna be a long driving day, so I'm glad to have a good co-pilot with me. My 50% off cheese and jalapeno focaccia bread. So I'm driving to Saskatchewan today, and it is a beautiful drive. Mostly because you can't see the wind, which blew hard all day, and that makes driving a brick-shaped van with a canoe on the roof really tough to handle. It'll all be worth it though, because eventually I pull up into this nice gravel parking lot, walk down to a beach, and not just any beach. This is the Dead Sea of Saskatchewan, Manitou Lake. I would like to see if I can float in it, but I ain't going in there yet. Welcome to day 44 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life vacation. And today I want to talk about poop. You see, this morning I was using my porta potty and I had the most epic view. And it made me appreciate the need to tell you what I do with my poop. As I mentioned, this is day 44 of my road trip. And you can appreciate that you're not always going to find a bathroom handy. Sometimes you're camping in places like this where there's just no bathrooms. So this is what I do. This is my portable toilet. It's the Reliance Hassock portable toilet. The biggest reason I went with the Hassock is because it can fit under my bed. This thing is just a lid. And then I got my toilet seat, which comes off. I got a toilet paper holder. And then I got a bucket inside a bucket. And that's actually sealed, so I can use this bucket for my shower. Anyways, in my bucket is kitchen garbage bags. So I line a kitchen garbage bag in there. I put my seat on and I use the bathroom. You admire the view, and then when you're done, you have TP right there. And then inside the van, always handy is dude wipes. Also always handy is hand sanitizer and Ziploc bags. Because if we're back over here, we have our garbage bag that would be filled, and then we have a second one. They tie those bags off so it's double bagged. Then you grab a Ziploc bag, your third bag, put it in there, and then you got a poop package that you got to deliver to a garbage can ASAP, even if that means tomorrow. Gross. Well, welcome to day 45 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life vacation, and today I'm driving deep into Saskatchewan. First off, I had to say goodbye to my epic camping spot on Manitou Lake. I spent the day canoeing here, and it was pretty cool. It's a salt lake, one you're supposed to be able to float in, but I didn't try because of the algae. I also found this, I think, cow skull and another bone, so that was my cue to leave. I had a long drive to do today because not only am I trying to get somewhere, I'm detouring to visit my cousin. I reconnected with my cousin earlier this year at my grandpa's celebration of life, and I told him that if I was back in Saskatchewan this summer, I'd visit. So now I'm here with nothing around other than wheat fields, oil wells, and my cousin Tommy. Thanks for the pizza, and now I'm off to Saskatoon. Well, it's day 46 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life vacation, and today it's all about my trip through Saskatoon. First of all, I spent last night sleeping in this gravel parking lot by a dog park. It was nice, but there were no bathrooms, so I hit the road early in an effort to find some. I found these beauties at Diefenbaker Park, where I also made some breakfast, and then I played some disc golf. Fun fact, I lost a disc in there last year. That was pretty much it for Saskatoon though, as I grabbed gas and some driving snacks and headed into that beautiful Saskatchewan farmland. I feel like I've been doing a lot of driving lately, and that's because I have, and I'm starting to get tired of it. It's day 46, and I'm starting to get tired of the road. But soon enough, my goal of the day came into view. Buffalo Pound Lake, my home for a few nights. Now it's time to do some thinking. Well, it's day 47 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life vacation. 47, what a number. A big, beautiful number. Absolutely huge. Anyways, I'm here at Buffalo Pound Lake, and I've been here for a couple days, and I'm doing some camping. It's quite a nice place, and I got good memories here. Last year I did my fantasy football draft here, and I won. And it ain't bad for camping either. It's also a bike park, so it had this cleaning stand where I attempted to salvage my bike. I had a nice breakfast, then headed to the other side of the campsite for some disc golf. The golf was pretty good, but the mosquito situation was terrible. So I went to the beach to do some thinking and decided to spend another day here. So I went up to the free firewood pile, loaded up, and then went back to camp. And if I'm honest, today I did a lot more thinking than doing. I'm at the point of this trip where I've started to consider its mortality. It's not like it's imminently going to end, but I have committed to being back in BC in something like 11 days to meet my parents. So that doesn't really give me that much time to push on. My original goal was to make it to Manitoba, but you know what? I don't know if I'm going to. I think I might kick back, slow down, and enjoy my drive back to BC. But that's for me to know and for you to find out on day 48 and beyond. Peace. Well, welcome to day 48 of me posting a short for every day. I'm on my big van life vacation, and today I'm in Buffalo Pound Provincial Park in Saskatchewan. As you can see behind me, I'm looking at buffalo right now. I'm also here to do some other things, but honestly, they're probably not nearly as cool. Oh, this guy's coming towards us. The other thing I was doing was canoeing, and it was pretty awesome. I've actually wanted to canoe here since I stumbled on this place last year. It's just a big long lake in the middle of Saskatchewan farm country. And other than the green slime that's been on every lake east of the Rockies, it was a nice place to paddle. There's seriously creatures living in this ooze. Gross. Hey, is that the house from Epstein's Island? No, but close. Well, much like those birds, it's time for me to leave too. So I drive back to camp, clean the slime off my canoe, ate some dinner, and then went looking for buffalo. And I found them. And that's the buffalo in Buffalo Pound. Well, welcome back to day 49 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life vacation. And today was a really good day. First, I went on a bike ride in the Nicole Flats area of Buffalo Pound Provincial Park. It was a nice little ride, even though my bike is totally cooked from spending 49 days on the back of the van. I rode to the old Nicole homestead, then back through the grasslands, and then eventually back to Buffalo Pound Lake, where I said goodbye to its buffaloes and I hit the road. I was driving to Regina today, and it was more of what you'd expect. Flat. Eventually I parked at Wascana Lake and went for a walk along the lakeshore. I happened to stumble across the Royal Saskatchewan Museum and decided to check it out. It's known for housing Scotty, the world's largest T-Rex, but it does have plenty more. I appreciate the Saskatchewan-centered approach to history here, and as someone who has explored Saskatchewan over the past 2 years, this trip to the museum kind of nicely wrapped it all up with a bow. A couple of highlights here were this display where you can decorate the side of a dinosaur, and I also like this one about dinosaur poop. But in all seriousness, the star of the show is Scotty, the world's largest T-Rex. So I took some selfies with him, then it was back to my walk. I walked to the Saskatchewan Legislature building, where I saw this ice cream truck and got some lakeside cookies and cream. And that's a great day spent in the Gina. Welcome back to me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life vacation, and today is day 50. 50, what a milestone. Not only is it a big milestone, it's actually my turnaround day. I was in Regina, and that's as far as I'm traveling. It's not quite as far as I wanted to go, but it's a good enough turnaround point. It's actually as far east as I've ever driven in Canada. It's as far east as I've ever driven, period, actually. Anyways, there is just one more thing that I needed to do in Regina, and that is try Regina-style pizza. So I went into Houston Pizza and got one all dressed. Just look at that girth. It was all right, but probably not worth driving 1,700 kilometers for. Anyways, I'm headed back to BC now. I have to meet my parents in Kootenay National Park in 8 days, so I have some ground to cover. I'm also trying to outrun some thunderstorms that were forecasted for the next few days, so I drove something like 2 hours today, until I found this nice gravel pullout to stop at, where I followed its trail to a bird watching tower, went up it, and admired its lovely view. Obviously, I needed to go further, so I continued following the trail to the beach until I started sinking into the sand, which was still so far away from the actual water. Anyways, this spot feels like the perfect place for me to celebrate this trip turning 50, and hopefully I get a nice quiet sleep. Well, welcome to day 51 of me posting a short for every day on my big van life vacation. And today's my final day in Saskatchewan. So I came out here to the Great Sand Hills, and now I'm lost in the desert. So I said goodbye to the parking lot I spent last night in, and also to this little guy hiding in the grass. Then eventually I hit the road. I was planning on getting out of Saskatchewan today, mostly because I feel like I've been in the middle of nowhere forever. But first a quick stop at the Swift Current McDonald's for a sausage McMuffin, then I was back on the road and seemingly headed further into absolutely nowhere. Deep down, I just wanted to drive straight back into Alberta, but that just wouldn't make for an interesting short. So I got on the longest gravel road I've been on this trip, and then in a magical cloud of dust, I appeared at the Great Sandhills. I was greeted by this cowboy boot arch, then I walked to the sand dunes themselves. This sand was deposited here some 12,000 years ago by glaciers, and they are the second largest active sand dunes in Saskatchewan. From my viewpoint on top of the first dune, I saw an army of kids armed with crazy carpets coming, so I got out of there. I hiked to the dune that I could see in the distance, which was way better. I walked around for a while in impressive silence. I reflected on my time that I spent in Saskatchewan. The isolation of these dunes was a perfect way to end my time in Saskatchewan, because that's how I felt the whole time I've been here, but in a good way. Then I hit the road again, first on sand, then on gravel, then on a country road, and then finally, I was back into Alberta. Well, welcome to day 52 of me posting a short for every day of my big van life road trip. And today was all about my time van lifing on the Oldman River. I spent last night van lifing at it at a boat launch in Taber, Alberta. It was right across the river from a campsite/park, so there were bathrooms to use in the morning. And a disc golf course. On tee number 1, this deer came frolicking by, and that was easily the highlight of the round. I actually lost a disc here on hole 9, but I'd trade that disc for some wildlife viewing any day. After disc golf, I had a meal in the park, then headed to the local No Frills for groceries. Then I hit the road again. I did so much driving yesterday, I kind of realized that I was a little bit ahead of the game. I'm thinking about heading into Waterton National Park, and pro tip, you don't really want to head into a national park on a Saturday if you could avoid it. So I pulled into Fort Macleod for another night of van lifing on the Oldman River. Well, welcome to day 53 of me posting a short for every day of my big van life vacation. I'm currently here in Waterton Lakes National Park, and I'm way up the Red Rocks Canyon. If I'm totally honest with you, today was a bit of a bittersweet day, but that doesn't really matter, because right now, I'm having a great time. The day started with me seeing the first mountains I've seen in damn near a month. Then I even saw a bison. I continued with my beautiful drive right into the heart of Waterton Lakes National Park, where I got some information at the information center, then went to the bench to think about things. I decided to camp here, but that's when I found this mouse nest in my van. Gross. I also discovered teeth marks, but no mouse, in the peanut butter of my traps. To escape the reality I was dealing with, I went for a drive up the Red Rocks Canyon Parkway, then hiked around the canyon, then eventually into the canyon itself. You can hike as far up this canyon as you want, but it seems that most people only want to go far enough to take some selfies, which, to be fair, this is a great place to take some selfies. But like all adventures, if you're willing to push on a little bit further than most, you'll be rewarded. And once I passed that deep section, I had the entire canyon to myself, which was awesome. I kept going until I decided that it was time to go. Time to go for another hike. I hiked up the Blackiston Valley, which I found very interesting. This valley had burned in a wildfire a few years ago, and in and amongst the burned trees, you could see the new trees growing. It made me reflect on my time earlier this trip when I was walking through the burned out forests of Jasper. Eventually I got to these 3 viewing platforms where you can see the upper part of Blackiston Falls, then a view from on top of it, then eventually you get the third and best view of the falls. And just like that, I'm not worried about that mouse at all. I'm just kidding, that's a lie. I'm very concerned and I don't want to go back to camp. Well, welcome to day 54 of me posting a short for every day of my big van life vacation. And today, I'm just mailing it in. Not just this short, but the whole day. It's been raining all day, so I'm just hiding out under my canopy. I slept like crap last night because I knew there was a mouse in my van, and I think he's still probably in there. I have my van door wide open, just hoping that it will leave. But why would it? It's cold, it's rainy, and I'd rather be in my van too, alone. But unfortunately, I'm out here, hiding from the rain, riding the emotional roller coaster that is the van life. Well, welcome to day 55 of me posting a short for every day of my big van life vacation. And after a very bad, rainy day here in Waterton, the sun is officially out, and I'm determined to have a way better day today. So I set off from my campsite and head down towards the beach, which is absolutely spectacular. From there, I walked up Cameron Creek and the road to get to Cameron Falls. I continued my walk down by Emerald Bay to the International Peace Park, where I sat in the Parks Canada red chairs and admired the view of the famous Prince of Wales Hotel. After that, I drove up the Akiyama Parkway. This is a scenic drive, one that has been unmistakably altered by wildfire. I stopped at Cameron Lake, where I walked the lakeside trail, which is stunning. The water is so clear here that I could even see a fish. This trail weirdly ends at this non-viewpoint viewpoint, which is strange for a trail that looked like this. I then ate leftover parking lot burritos for lunch, featuring my Waterton hot sauce from the general store, and a deer. I made a quick trip down to Akamina Lake, then headed back to town, where I hiked the Bears Hump Trail. This trail was super steep, but it had absolutely insane views of Waterton Lake at the top. And that's how you recover from a no-good, very bad, rainy day. Well, welcome to day 56 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life road trip. And today started really bad. I woke up to knocks on my window, which turned out to be the park warden, and that wasn't good. I tried to do the Shaggy It Wasn't Me routine, but I soon got perp walked to the information center. I did get off pretty lucky because all I got was a warning and I had to pay for a night of camping. And they only charged me $17, which is the overflow rate because the campsite was actually full anyways. But either way, I got to get out of here. After thinking about it, I didn't want my run-in with the law to be my final memory here at Waterton, so I went for a hike. This is the Bertha Lake Trail, which takes you up into the mountains, past Lower Bertha Falls, then further up the mountain, and then even further up the mountain, until eventually ending at the very beautiful Bertha Lake. What a way to turn around my day. I hiked back down, attended a wedding, then went to Wieners of Waterton for some driving food. And then from here, it was just driving. I was totally ready to get out of Alberta and back into BC. BC is where I'm from, and it's where I'm the most comfortable. Especially since this drive puts me 4 hours away from the scene of my crime. Now let's just hope this parking lot doesn't bring me any mice or any more window knocks from the authorities. Well, it's day 57 of me posting a short for every day on my big van life vacation. And today is my first day back in BC, and it feels awesome. If you look behind me, I'm on an absolutely crystal clear, beautiful lake. This is Columbia Lake, and I'm currently looking for the source of the Columbia River. I don't know if I'm going to get there, but we're going to find out. First, I just want to appreciate how clear the water is here. It's so much better than the green, slime-filled lakes I paddled in Alberta and Saskatchewan. Damn, it feels good to be home. This paddle starts with a trip across Columbia Lake, the first lake on the Columbia River. Then we enter the channel, which will lead us to the source of the Columbia River. The Columbia River is 2,000 kilometers long. It starts here in Canal Flats, British Columbia, and winds its way to the Pacific Ocean at Astoria, Oregon. Along the way, the Columbia River flows through enough hydroelectric dams to power 8 million homes. But there's no sign of that here. The water just slowly bubbles out of the ground in a very humble marsh. And that's paddling to the source of the Columbia River. Well, it's day 58 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life road trip. And today, I'm going to go meet my parents in Radium Hot Springs. But first, we're doing some van lifing in Invermere. So I slept here on the side of the road in front of an apartment building to not look suspicious. In the morning, I drove down the street to the beautiful James Chabot Provincial Park on Windermere Lake. I used the bathrooms here, then headed to the grocery store for eggs because my mom said she needed them to cook me breakfast tomorrow. But until then, I went to the Dilly food truck and I got the pulled pork breakfast burrito. It was so good. Honestly, the best thing I've eaten in at least 58 days. Then I hit the road and headed to Radium, where I tried to work off that burrito in the park and watched a herd of bighorn sheep roam around town, which is my favorite part of Radium. Then I watched some of the cool cars roll in ahead of the Columbia Valley Car Show tomorrow, like this sick F-150 and trailer combination that my parents drive. And then it was time for some family time at the campsite. Well, it's day 59 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life vacation, and today I'm up in Radium camping with my parents. First, I went down to their trailer for breakfast and was absolutely shocked to see my dad doing the cooking. He crushed it though, and breakfast was great. After breakfast, we headed down to the Springs Golf Course to go to the Columbia Valley Car Show. This is the 35th annual and my third year in a row attending. There's about 1,000 cars here of literally every variation. I like this giant fan, this Subaru rally car, this Honda Civic that was my high school dream car, and my favorite thing was probably this big rig hot rod. Although this Consular was something that I've never seen before, and apparently it was banned from something. Anyways, there's just so many nice cars here, but it was time to go. So I hiked back up to the campsite, got sidetracked by some views, then continued. I caught my dad doing his best photographer impression. Then it was time for dinner. So what do you think about that wiener to bun ratio? Well, welcome to day 60 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big summer van life road trip. Day 60, that's crazy. Last year's big summer van life road trip lasted 68 days, and every day I'm getting a little bit closer to beating that mark. I'm out here camping with my parents, and I got a couple more days left, and then after that, it's going to be decision-making time. Do I try to stretch this trip out as long as possible, or do I just aim for 68 days, 69 days, beat that mark, and go home and adopt a dog? I'm really not sure what I'm going to do yet. I am pretty tired, and I'm kind of ready to go home. But with that being said, I got a couple more days to think about it. But today I get to start with another dad-made breakfast. Then it was time to say goodbye to my campsite in Radium and head off towards Banff. It feels crazy to leave Radium without going to the hot springs, but the parking lot looks so full, I just kept driving. It's a beautiful drive all the way up Highway 93, but I still wanted to split the drive up, so I pulled into this little parking spot and hiked up Marble Canyon, which is a beautiful creek that flows through this deep canyon. It's quite spectacular, and it reminds you of the power of water. It all ends at this cool waterfall that flows under the final bridge. And then on the way down, I saw this rock with more layers than your personality, and eventually I hit the road again. And then I'm back in Alberta. Then I rejoined with my parents, and we went to Lake Louise. Because if you don't go to Lake Louise, were you even in Banff? No, you weren't. Well, welcome to day 61 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life road trip. And today is my final day here in Banff. Obviously, this day started with another dad-made breakfast, and then we went to town for a walk. We walked along the Bow River, and the trail featured some art along it. It's the Art Walk. This hike was the perfect hike for my parents. It's beautiful, but also very easy. Along with the art, this trail continues all the way to Bow River Falls, where there's a nice viewpoint, making a great turnaround point. We then went to the St. James Gate Irish pub for lunch. I got bangers and mash and a Caesar. Eventually, I went for another walk along the Hoodoos of View Trail, which had great views of the valley and of the Hoodoos themselves. I'm also really curious about the reason why these pine cones are in bags. And that's a wrap on Banff. Well, it's day 62 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life road trip. And today, I finally had to say goodbye to my dad's campsite breakfasts and hello to the open road. After 4 days of camping with my parents, I'm back in the solo adventure mode. I made a stop by the train tracks to assess what I'm doing, and after a few hours of sitting here, I decided I needed to go to Calgary. I was originally thinking of going straight into Kananaskis country, But after starting my drive, I just felt like going to Calgary. Eventually I settled into this gravel parking area next to whatever you classify this train as, the subway, the SkyTrain. It doesn't really matter. I slept pretty good, but I did wake up with the thought of, why am I even here? Well, it's day 63 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life vacation, and I slept by a train, which is only fitting because I woke up next to a train as well. I spent last night by the Calgary C train, so in the morning I went to a park to use the bathrooms. This is Fish Creek Provincial Park, and the bathrooms were quite nice. It was pretty windy, but I decided to go for a walk. I followed the trails down by the creek, just exploring. Then I accidentally stumbled on a naked guy at an apparent nude beach. So I hightailed it back to the van, then to Canadian Tire for lunch at this food truck. I had a Polish sausage and fries, and it was good. Then I went to the Cochrane Library to upload a YouTube video and hit the road. That was the last non-short YouTube video that I'll post on this trip, because as my days wind down, it'll be an all-out sprint to do as many things as possible. You might not hear from me for a few days, as I'm heading up into Kananaskis country. But first, a nice quiet night by the train. Well, welcome to the beautiful Kananaskis Lake. This has been my home for the last 2 days, and as far as my daily shorts are concerned, this is day 64 and day 65 of my big summer van life road trip. So first of all, the drive here was stunning. I was able to score the final lakeside campsite, well, kind of. You had to walk through these woods, then continue down a ways until you eventually get to the beach, which is spectacular. This place is super windy though, so I had dinner and winded down by a fire. Day 2 started with me seeing this rabbit, and then I went for a hike. This hike follows the shore of Upper Kananaskis Lake, passes by this sweet waterfall, then headed up into the forest. Way up. Eventually, when the climb ended, I had this unbelievable view of Roston Lake. I continued on to the end of the trail, where I saw this playful little guy. Judging by his thickness, I think he puts on a show for everybody holding snacks. Do you think anything lives in that cave? Anyways, I enjoyed this view one more time, hiked back down, followed the Lakeshore Trail a little longer, until I found a nice spot of my own to enjoy the view. Then it was back to camp for lunch, which brought out the birds. Is that a crow or a raven? I should learn more things. Anyways, that's been my time in Kananaskis. Not bad at all. Well, welcome to day 66 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life road trip. And today, I'm headed back into BC. This is actually my second time heading back into BC, but this time I'm going to be here to stay. But before that, I need to get out of Kananaskis. So today I'm driving the Smith Dorion Trail, which is super washboardy, but very scenic. I drove this way entirely to check out Spray Lake, which was very windy, but totally worth it. Then I hit the road again on my way to Canmore, where I stopped for breakfast. That was just okay. I should have just driven to Banff. But either way, I was driving through it now, then through Kootenay National Park too. I did this same drive but in reverse like a week ago, but one thing I skipped was actually soaking in Radium Hot Springs. Ooh, look at those sexy feet. After that soak, I was back on the road and headed to Invermere. Once I got there, I discovered that the Dilly food truck was closed. Oh, what could have been. All I could do now was just keep driving. I drove like 350 kilometers a day, a long day for sure, but it feels good to be back in BC. Living the van life, Riverside, making smash burgers. Well, it's day 67 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big summer van life adventure. 67, 6-7. From my understanding, that number is super hot online right now. I don't really know why, because I'm 37, as in I'm 37, and I'm not terminally online. I'm actually so not online, I'm literally outside right now, and we're going canoeing. So this is Moy Lake, and this is me canoeing Moy Lake. As you can see, Moy Lake is absolutely beautiful. And after canoeing the main part of the lake, it substantially narrows into this little channel. Then after paddling that narrow section, past this janky bridge, it opened back up into another section of lake, where I found a nice beach to pull up on, waited out a train, crossed the tracks, went to the Moy General Store, and bought a gourmet paddling lunch. Then I was ready for the long paddle home. And that's been canoeing Moy Lake. Man, I hope nobody's in there. Well, welcome to day 68 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big van life road trip. And last night, I spent the night here in the Ryan rest stop. I am in Ryan, BC, which is outside of Yak, which is outside of Creston. I don't really know where exactly I am, other than I'm at the Ryan rest stop. I spent last night here. It was great, but the sign says to limit your stay to 8 hours, and I've already been here for 12. So with that being said, I'm going to go to the bathroom and get out of here. So about that bathroom, it was a little frightening. Well, maybe a lot frightening. But it was definitely time to go. It was a little chilly this morning, but as I'm headed towards home, that just makes for a good driving day. If I'm honest, a large part of me was totally ready to drive home today, especially after I was stuck going 30 kilometers an hour behind this hay truck. Which, now that I think about it, I wonder if that truck was headed to that ostrich farm. Sorry, not a political show. Eventually I descended into Salmo, where I went to this food truck for lunch, R&D Barbecue Nation, where I got this huge breakfast/lunch and tried to take a video of a helicopter overhead. After that, I walked on some local trails and went to the river. At this point, I realized that I ate way too much, but the river was great nonetheless. I headed back through the forest, back to the van, and back on the road. This time I kept driving until I got to my favorite lake, the beautiful Slocan Lake. Go fishy, go fishy. Well, it's day 69, nice, of my big summer van life road trip. And being day 69, that means this trip is officially 1 day longer than my big summer van life road trip of last year. And that's really all it was set out to do here. I wanted to come out here, have a bigger, longer trip, and now it's officially 1 day longer. And that means I can go home, which I'm excited for. Frankly, I was going to go home today, but I was like, you know what? I think I'm just in my feels because it's so windy. The wind has kept me off the lakes here. It kept me off the lakes in Kananaskis, and I'm tired of it. But I was like, no, you can't go home because you're in a bad mood. Wait another day and then see what you want to do. So I drove up to Summit Lake, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm staying. And then I went into Cusp to do some van lifing, and that's what I did. I stayed one more night, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. But it's 69 days already. 70 is guaranteed. Well, we'll see how long I last, but probably won't be too much longer. So I am ready to go home. Well, it's officially day 70 of my big summer van life road trip. And if you look behind me, that's a cemetery. Since it is the beginning of October and in the spirit of spooky season, I van lifed right across the street from it. But with that being said, nothing bothered me last night. I wasn't visited by any spirits, but I am going to get out of here ASAP. And with that being said, I'm going to go do some canoeing. So this is Summit Lake. It's literally next to a rest stop. And after seeing it yesterday on the way into Cusp, I knew canoeing here today was what I wanted to do. And it didn't disappoint. It's got great views, and I saw a beaver dam. I also saw a ton of these, which I think might be invasive. Either way, I was back on the road and headed to Roseberry. Is that a roseberry? Man, I'm full of questions today. Is that a shipwreck? Well, technically, a barge wreck, but yeah. From here, I walked the old rail trail to this old train bridge to look for some spawning salmon. I saw a couple, but they all looked pretty sad. So I headed back to New Denver for some sunset grilling on the lake shore. Well, it's day 71 of me posting a short for every day I'm on my big summer van life road trip. 71 days. That's more than 10 weeks, and that's almost 20% of a year. That is crazy, but I'm still out here. I slept last night on the streets in New Denver. Then I headed down to the water to say my final goodbye to Slocan Lake. Then I went to the Kohan Reflection Garden to reflect on it. Namaste. I then went into Silverton to the Camp Cafe. Then I hit the road. Pretty quickly I got stuck behind the slow log truck, so I pulled into a rest stop to let that truck get ahead and to spend even more time admiring the beautiful Slocan Lake. Eventually I got back on the road and headed towards Castlegar. I got distracted by Syringa Provincial Park, where I decided that I was ready to go home. I'm laked out. So I hit the road again, this time for realsies. I stopped in Christina Lake for some authentic Palestinian food, not a political show, and I was back on my way. I did slop all over my shirt, so I had to pull over to the river in Grand Forks to change. I admired their slag pile and used their bathroom, where I cannot believe this toilet placement. That's psychopathic. I gassed up, hopefully for the last time, and I was on the road again. This time I stopped in Greenwood at their 100-plus-year-old smelter tower, one of my favorite places to van life. And that is how you spend your final night on the road. Well, it's day 72 of me posting a short for every day. I'm on my big summer van life vacation, and 72 days, that's enough for me. I'm going home. I'm going home! Today's gonna be my final day, and I'm genuinely excited to go home. I've enjoyed my time out here. I've enjoyed my time with you, but I'm just ready to go home. When I woke up this morning, it was 2 degrees. It was cold. Still is cold. So I got my hat on and my hands are cold. Well, you can't really see my breath, but I assure you, it is cold. Anyways, I think the first thing we're going to do for my final day is do a bit of a beard check. So I'll splice in some video of me posting my beard on the first day, compare what it looks like. That's pretty decent beard growth, if you ask me. But with that being said, I got to get out of here. I'm going to go to town, grab some breakfast, go to the bathroom, and we're going to hit the road. Because we got 5 hours of driving today. I'm not really sure. I haven't Google mapped it. I know where I'm going. Let's go. First, I need to say goodbye to Greenwood's Copper Smelter Tower. This thing was built in 1901, and it's a great way to experience BC's mining history. Then I went to the public bathrooms in town. I am so tired of using public bathrooms. I then went to the Copper Eagle for breakfast. I got a chai latte and a road burrito. Then I hit said road. I had a 5-hour, 400-plus kilometer drive to do today. I'm going to make my first stop at my parents' house in a Soyuz, because if I didn't, they'd be hopping mad. I checked out my mom's new, used Mercedes, my dad's new Christmas light haul. Then he loaded me up with free junk, his old bike, and my mom insisted on feeding me lunch. Then I hit the road for good. Or until I was distracted by the opportunity to make a BJ joke. What wasn't a joke is this $10 bag of apples, or even better, this $11 bag of peppers. Shout out to Karamias. That's it though. I just drove straight home from here, barring one final pee break at the Hope Slide. And that's a wrap on the 2025 edition of my ultimate summer van life road trip. I do want to thank everybody that watched these videos, that liked them, that commented. I apologize that I could not respond to all your comments. There was just too many, and I was doing too many things. But with that being said, I'm back at home. I got to go trim my beard, and more importantly, I got to go cut my lawn.